Praxi, how come you never switched to FL20? It's just so ugly to look at. Why does he not use the newer version, even though it's functionally the same?
Alright, I get it!
Yo, what's up? The guys over at Baby Audio were kind enough to sponsor this video and send me two plugins, iHeart New York and Super VHS, and I'll be using them in my track. They also hooked you guys up with a 25% discount if you use my code Praxi25 at the checkout. And lastly, we're doing a giveaway for the plugins, and 3 of my subscribers will be getting a free copy of iHeart New York and Super VHS. If you want a chance to win, I'll have the links in the description. You have until March 1st to enter. Today, we'll be making a track like Koda the Friend. I'm going for a sound like his songs Alkaline, Chicago Diner, or Colorado. Avery, also known as Koda the Friend, is a rapper, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and cinematographer hailing from Brooklyn, New York. Music has always been a part of his life. Growing up, he was put on to many hip-hop legends like Biggie, Tupac, Nas, Jay-Z, and Kanye West. Kanye being a major influence on his outlook of music.
I'll never forget the first time I heard a Kanye song. I was in a... All Falls Down came on. That moment was just like, yo, what the fuck?
At 9 years old, he was taught how to play the trumpet in school, and his family and teachers noticed that he was pretty good at it. A little side note here, I also learned how to play the trumpet. That was the first instrument I learned how to play. He would soon go on to a performing arts school where he would learn to play other instruments like the piano, guitar, and the bass, which would later help him produce his own music. But aside from music, another one of his passions is cinematography, working professionally with artists like Blue and Asher Roth for their music videos. At one point, he was actually only doing videos for other artists, and it wouldn't be until late 2015 when he would start creating his own songs. He started writing his own lyrics, producing his own beats, and directing his own videos. After a while, he developed his own aesthetic and style and has been putting out new music and videos almost weekly for about 3 years now. He actually just released a new song last week called Volvo. He actually got the name Kota from the movie Brother Bear, naming himself after the youngest bear in the movie. And in the Native American Sioux dialect, the word Kota means friend.
So kind of like Koda Friend the Friend.
He trolling me, that's crazy.
Many of Koda the Friend's songs use some pretty lush chords and very catchy melodies, usually using keyboards and guitars, giving his music a pretty lounge, cafe, jazzy feel. A lot of his songs kind of teeter the line between chill trap beats and lo-fi hip-hop. But on some tracks like Alkaline, there's this cool blend of piano keys and synth sounds, so I'm going to be incorporating some of that in my track. I'm going to be using this free plugin called Synth 1, and I put down this melody using the marimba preset. I used a few EQs to get the lows out and to get rid of some of the harsh frequencies. And then I used Super VHS to add a couple more effects. I really do like this plugin a lot because it's pretty versatile and it has a very simple layout. I turned the heat knob up a little bit, which gives it some saturation, and the wash knob that gave it some reverb. I also added some static with the static lever and some pitch wobble with the drift knob. And then I added stereo shaper for some surround sound. I also wanted to layer an ARP sound with the marimbas, so I used another preset from Synth 1 and turned it into an arpeggio. I pretty much used the same effects on this one as well, like an EQ to cut out the lows, but I used a different function in Super VHS for this sound. With the shape lever, I gave it this cool bit crushed effect.
4 bits, 2 bits, 1 bit!
And then I used the mix lever to make sure the effect wasn't too overpowering. The last melody I made was with Lounge Lizard, and I wanted to have a lush sound for when my drums aren't playing. I copied the same chord progression as before, but I strummed the chords and added this top melody. I used another instance of Super VHS for this sound, and I used the magic button in the center of the plugin to give it this cool vintage chorus effect. Similar to the instruments used in his songs, Koda the Friend's drums also use a blend of modern sounds and traditional jazzy sounds. I'm going to be using my very own drum kit that I released not too long ago called the 300K drum kit that I made as a thank you for reaching 300K subscribers. This drum kit is free, by the way, links in the description. For my track, I went with a pretty simple pattern using some staple trap sounds. For other parts of the track, I wanted to layer another hi-hat pattern, so here's what that sounds like. And to give it that more realistic drum sound, I used this acoustic hi-hat loop that I made that's also in my drum kit. The last thing that went into my tracks were the basses. Using the song Alkaline again as a reference, I noticed that there's a section of the song where it transitions from a synth bass to an 808, and that's what I'm gonna do for my track. The track Alkaline was also produced by Origami Beats, and he's another content creator on YouTube. His stuff is fire, go check him out. I'm using this synth bass preset from Nexus, and I put down this melody. I used another EQ to cut out some of the harsh frequencies, and then I used Baby Audio's I Heart New York plugin as a compressor. All I did for this was move the spank knob up a little bit, and when the synth bass isn't playing, I'm adding an 808 for my drum kit. I also noticed that there's a problem with the 808s in my kit. If it's keeping the same sound when you're trying to change notes and it's just not changing, go to the time stretching section and then pull the time knob all the way down, and then you should be good to go. The 808 also had some I Heart New York compression on it. Sometimes all you gotta do is just give your 808s a little spank. I also added some cymbals as transition sounds, and I added this peaceful bird chirping that I got from this video.
Can I use your sound effects in my video? Please reply this comment.
Niggas, it's birds chirping.
Here's the beat. Koda the Friend usually raps with a pretty calm and cool delivery, and sometimes gets into some melodic flows. He also has this really nice tone with his voice. It's kind of velvety. Naturally, my voice doesn't sound like that, but I'm gonna try my best to capture a similar vibe. His rap content usually contains introspective lyrics, reminiscing on his past, mental health, knowing your self-worth, all while wishing the best for everyone. Since his lyrics are so personal to himself, for my track, I'm gonna be pulling more from my own personal life, rather than trying to imitate Koda's hardships. He tends to not crowd his lyrics either. He takes his time when he raps. He gives his lyrics enough time to breathe between each bar. I've also noticed in a few tracks like Colorado, he structures his rhymes where it's every other line rhyming rather than each line rhyming with itself. It's actually something that's pretty common in old poetry rather than rap. Real talk. I think Koda the Friend is one of those artists who's really made a name for himself through his work ethic. It's one thing to do everything on your own, but it's another thing to consistently release new songs and new videos while also experimenting and growing with your work. Personally, I'm a huge fan of his songs, and I love his outlook on life and his music. All of his songs kind of give me that feel that makes me just want to dance when no one's looking. If I were to compare him to a beverage, I would consider him a refreshing cup of tea.
Every single day just feels the same. Lately I've been switching on my goals. People keep on telling me I changed. That's what happens when you tryna grow. Do it for myself and all my people. We ain't picking cotton, all my boys created equal. Lost a couple friends cause they was acting too deceitful. Not about the drama, I just wanna live peaceful. I'ma do my best to lay low, blocking out the shade that they throw. Never going outside, I'ma be about mine. I don't like the vibes they show. I've been trying to smile even if I have a bad day. Got too many friends that I don't talk to cause I'm sad, ayy. I'm about my privacy and I'm about my bag, ayy. I look in the mirror and I'm looking like my dad, ayy. People think this shit was overnight. They just want the money, they don't ever wanna grind. All this time I've been trying to build on my estate, cause my nigga Rome wasn't built in a day. Do it for myself and all my people. We ain't picking cotton, all my boys created equal. Lost a couple friends cause they was acting too deceitful. Not about the drama, I just wanna live peaceful. I'ma do my best to lay low, blocking out the shade that they throw.
Praxi doesn't make his own melodies anymore. I miss when Praxi used to make his own melodies.